Hi there, my name is Sean MacDonald. I am 28 years old. I live in Chilliwack, British Columbia for my first time in my whole entire life. I grew up in Maple Ridge. I was really badly bullied since the time I was in grade 1 up until the time I was in grade 9 and I met my best friend's family. That was through my little baby brother. He has actually took it upon himself to actually help me make some friends when I was in grade 9. And the friends that I met ended up helping me not get bullied anymore, but they weren't maybe known as the best people, but honestly they're the best people I know and even know till this day. I have nothing but good things to say about the family and the rest of them. The family that helped me has a very bad reputation because of one or two individuals that have maybe done something wrong. I don't feel that it should be taken out on the rest of their family. My first thing I'd like to talk to you guys about here today is, so after I got bullied, so I was really much a grandma's boy because I didn't have a lot of friends. So with that being said, I hung out with my nana and my grandpa and my grandma and grandpa a lot of the time. Here in Chilliwack, the office in Chilliwack, they're trying to tell me that my nana and my grandpa's relationship was domestic. And they were a very old school loving couple, and they never hit each other, they never swore at each other. They were very much believing in God. She tried to raise me Christian. I chose to believe in a different God. My God is spiritual, and I believe in the Creator. It's similar to your guys' God, but our God, we we use in medicines, we use in prayers, we use in smokehouses, and much more. I would like to say why they're trying to say my nanny and grampy were abusive is because they hung out every single day with each other and they loved each other to the best of their ability. And they always, after my grampy always worked, he'd come home to have a really good day here with my with with my with my nan and grampy. And always after work he'd come home, and when he came home he never spent his time with his friends at the bars or going out doing stuff. It was always my nanny and him doing crafts. So I was also raised by my nanny and grampy. You don't want to have just a girlfriend or just a friend of benefits, etc. When you meet a girlfriend, that is supposed to be your soulmate and the love of your life until the rest of your life. Here in Chilliwack, I try to preach the kindness that my nanny and grandpa have raised me in the all manners of holding doors open and being respectful to our elders, not trying to harm our elders and not trying to harm women or children. They raised me in a very peaceful manner, and they're trying to say that is abusive towards my wife. My wife has fatal alcohol syndrome, and she is 25 years old, and she's also from Chilliwack. Sorry, she's 26, and she's also from Chilliwack. She is dealing with Patricia Colley, who is the Aboriginal person who is not statused and is not native whatsoever, and it's here in the office in Chilliwack. Besides her not being statused at all, there is no status or no Aboriginal workers in our catchment area, said Mrs. Colley, to go and take myself or Sabrina McLean. They have said that I was verbally domestic because we cannot currently afford to share a phone, as I had to go and quit working, which I normally love to work, due to go and getting my daughter back, so that it would prove that I would not be neglectful and that I would be there full time for my daughter. Since then, I have cooked, I have cleaned, I have done everything I possibly can to try to be the best person for my daughter and to try to be the best person for my wife. When I first had my daughter, I got a Baby Breeza Formula Pro. I didn't even know they made it to make baby formula with, so that my wife, who has some learning disabilities, could also go and have have her make her own bottles once in a while if she was wanting to do so. She was also breast pumping regularly, and she continues to try to breast pump to the best of her ability. She also fed the baby Costco formula. It was called Omega Plus. It had no GMO or no like other unnatural ingredients. It was really good for the baby, and it was the best brand that I could find on YouTube. I looked up multiple different brands, and so I tried to do the right thing. I got 20 Costco things from 0 to 24 months old because they could last a year, so that we had more than enough formula. I got my daughter a brand new crib. I got her a brand new rocking chair. I got her a brand new stroller. I got her everything that a dad should have gotten his daughter with the money that I got while I was working out of town for a wonderful gentleman named Steve up at Williams Lake. He was a really good guy, and he helped me make the money so that I could help support my family here back in Chilliwack. And Evan and also Kevin, all of them helped me earn the money so that I could do that. Then about a month after she was telling me how wonderful I was doing and how good I was doing, Patricia Colley then came into the office and came into my building with two RCMP officers, and she took my daughter, and she would not give me a reason. Prior to this, me and Sabrina tried to get different workers, as Ashley Johnson was her support worker by the Yothme here in Chilliwack. After she was assaulted, I'm not going to say how, after she was assaulted by one of the gentlemen in the building here, she ended up having to actually, then later on, after the court case, she was then evicted by Simon Ord. When Simon Ord went in and was trying to get the police involved, he was trying to cover his own ass, because I already said I was going to call the RCMP myself. I was just giving the landlord a heads up of what my wife has told me, and Ashley Johnson told her not to go forward to the police. So after Ashley Johnson told her not to go forward to the police, and I was out of town in the summer working at Williams Lake, I came back, and I hear my wife was sexually assaulted, and because of how long and how much time has gone by that time, it ended up not being able to do a sex assessment or a rape kit, and so therefore it ended up having her getting evicted after the court was dismissed. On top of that, she had Karen Hepner here works here at the Ruth and Naomi's Family Center at the soup kitchen at the homeless shelter, where they have overdoses every day. They also have overdoses every day in the Brandon Ruth Family Center. Well, not every day, but quite a lot of them, and have people using crystal meth and drugs, where the police or ambulance have to show up. This is also being able to, you can look it up. It's easy to look up. You just have to go and you have to figure out how to look up police records. If you can look up a police record, you can see how many times they were here for people doing drugs and other reasons. And since the people have been doing drugs, and people have also lost their children doing drugs, and they know who they are and they know who they're not that are doing drugs and drinking and abusing this place. There's also a lot of drug overdoses at the soup kitchen here that Simon Ord made into a homeless shelter after closing down a recovery center for all the wonderful people here to try to get clean and try to go back to their family. He made it the opposite, is so that a lot of tenants I speak to will not have the balls to go forward with it, but they all have told me that unfortunately they're not happy because of how many overdoses and other things. Also, after the social worker, we had a meeting. She also told Cynthia Covert, who was my wife's only friend at the time, and still pretty well my wife's only friend, and told her that if she continues hanging out with myself or hanging out with Sabrina McLean, she'll lose her rights to go and see Dante. I thought was very unprofessional. Later on in that meeting, she also made me sign a piece of paper for a safety plan that I was not comfortable signing a safety plan, and I asked for legal representation, and I have one video that I was later then refused. I also have one video of Raven Little and Patricia Colley talking to my wife Sabrina McLean for 45 minutes downstairs here at Ruth and Naomi about how I was cheating on her with Cynthia Covert, which has never been true. I've never cheated on my wife. When she went and slept over and she was on an air mattress and me and my wife were interlocked and cuddled on a bed, as we cuddle and interlock when we sleep, because that's how we sleep better. And also, with that being said, she also said that I was making out with Cynthia Covert with no proof, and I've never made out with any woman but my wife, as my nan and my grandpa have raised me at one woman is all you need, and that's your soulmate and best friend for the rest of your life. And people are saying that she's domestic because she raised me to go and be an honor old man and to be an old school Christian spirit, but not abusive. She's never hit any of us children. She's never disciplined any of us children in any wrong way. Actually, her discipline would actually be, it's kind of funny. She'd go, hey, you're in trouble. Come sit on my knee for a minute. And well, we all know that nanny is our nanny. So as a little kid, we're super excited. Hee, I get to sit with my nanny. Why don't I go do it again, right? But that's my experience with my nanny. They're trying to say that she's very abusive. Also, my grandma helped me catch up. My grandma Lynn Mackenzie helped me catch up to 6 years of schoolwork in 1 year. She pulled me out of elementary school because I was falsely searched at Glenwood for selling fireworks that I didn't know or even have any idea that children in elementary school at that time could even get fireworks. I mean, in high school, I found out they're very easily accessible, but in elementary school, I just never heard of that. They ripped out all my stuff. That was the school I was getting really badly bullied at, and so my grandma pulled me out. I couldn't write. I couldn't read. I couldn't write. I couldn't even spell hi. I couldn't add 1+1. I thought I'd added 3. I spelled cat, CATE. There was a lot of things that I was not able to do. My grandma took me out and caught me up from a grade 1 level to a grade 6 level in 1 year. She did a lot of homework and a lot of catch up. I was there from probably 6 in the morning till 5 or 7 o'clock at night, but she helped me understand that it will better help me out later on in my future. Then Patricia Colley wanted me to go do a learning assessment that my grandmother and myself were very confused about. Not a parent assessment to see if I'm going to be capable of looking after my daughter, and she said that I'm lucky if I even get one of those. I also have completed a school program with Steve, Bev, and Karen, the Seven Sacred Teachings here at Ruth and Naomi's. And Bev and Karen, I had a couple issues with them because at first she said that Aboriginal people's history was not written, not rewritten, and that she thinks that the white people were telling the truth when we have found millions of our Indigenous children found on properties in other places that our children are still being found. I found that was very offensive, but I didn't want to get upset about it. I have also had them tell me I'm not my daughter's real dad, then again turn around and tell me that I am the real dad in paper in both circumstances, then again say I'm not the real dad with no DNA or any other proof. And they're also being very rude towards my wife. They have taken my wife Sabrina McLean's culture from the time she was 1 year old until she aged out to know anything about her Aboriginal culture. She was not raised in an Indigenous home. She does not know her Indigenous language. She does not know anything other than how to make wonderful dream catchers, which is a really good blessing because they're very beautiful. And you can see them at Bina's Dream Catchers on Facebook if you look it up. And they're very, very super wonderful. And I just absolutely can't say in any more wonderful words on how beautiful my wife is and how much I love her. When I first came here, she didn't even have a blanket to sleep with. Yothmi thought it was appropriate to sleep with 4 toddler blankets or baby blankets, They couldn't even keep her warm in the winter time. She had no food. She had barely anything in her house. Her TV might have been a 5-inch TV, like, and it was an old school TV. There was nothing that she had at that specific time. I opened my heart because I could see how good she was as a person, and I love love her for who she is, not what she has or doesn't have. And so when I came back, as my boss helping me out of town, Steve was helping me out of town, and Kevin and Evan, when they were helping me out of town, and that was really nice. So I got to come back. I bought her a brand new 60-inch TV. I bought her a surround sound system. I bought her, a whole bunch of food. I taught her as best as I could how to cook. Been absolutely loving her getting me to do the dream catchers here in the last little while. She's been having me help her with putting the leather around the hoop and making it so that she could web it and then decorate it for me. They're decorated for other people so that she could sell them. She does sell them at beanasdreamcatchers.com, or Bean's Dreamcatchers on Facebook, sorry, not .com. And you can also get a hold of us at 604-799-3868 if you have any inquiries about her Dreamcatchers. They're absolutely beautiful. And as a kid, I used to go and bake cookies and stuff with my granny. I didn't really hang out with a lot of people, as I've stated. I got really badly bullied, and I used to go and have to run down hallways and try to avoid people. And actually, in grade 8 is when I met Rick Harry, who helped me learn how to do some carving. And Rick Harry was this big native man, and there's a whole bunch of other Aboriginal people when I came into the room. I was feeling just kind of a little bit like I shouldn't have been there, but like, I'm Aboriginal too, so hey, maybe I'll join and fit in for a bit while I was trying to avoid some kids that were chasing me down the hallways and such. And while they were chasing me down the hallways, I had my teacher, Mr. Bird, and Tim. They tried to help me out in the best of their ability. They went to the teachers, principals. I mean, they went to the teacher board. They did everything to try to help me not get bullied. Later on, they were going to resign as teachers, and they were put in smaller alternative schools to help troubled children who get along better, who don't bully each other as bad. Because he didn't want to see any more children get bullied as bad as I did, and now he's trying his best that he can. I have also had a counselor since I was 14. Being a kid, not all of us want a counselor. No, for sure we don't want a counselor. We want to tell whatever workers that are trying to give us and other people, we don't need you, go away. So I got, just at that time, I stayed at a group home because my family and I were having some unfortunate disagreements. And while I was staying at the group home, I was trying my best to go through school, and I actually later on met the teachers that were in my grade 8 class and stuff, and they actually were teachers in alternative schools, which I stopped bullying at completely at outreach, and I have leadership rewards. And then I met Charlotte. When I met Charlotte, I kept pushing her off, like I was trying to say. Sorry for getting off topic there. And when I was pushing her off, she said, "No, I'll call into your group home. I'm not going to sign your paper to go jump out of another car again," right? Well, I can't blame her for that one. And then after I did that, I went and got to know her. Since I was 14 till the time now I am 28 years old. She has been there through my rough times. She's been there through my good times and all around. Her name is Charlotte Reckenmacher. Her agency is Astra from the Counseling and Harm Reduction Society in Maple Ridge, and she is the most wonderful lady I'd have ever had. Even when I aged out, she took it upon her, even though other people may look at it differently, but she still sees me once in a while. I've also done a lot of stuff, for her, and she's done a lot of stuff for me. She's been a wonderful worker in all ways and aspects, and they refuse to reach out to her to know what's really going on here. And it's really unfortunate because what's going on here is the social workers won't call my counselors. I've gotten teachers that have written me letters stating how good I was, and even after they were putting down my culture and my natural belief, being Aboriginal, my life is status. I'm not. But when they were putting down the Aboriginals, saying that the white men created the true story and that the Aboriginals are lying and that they didn't kill our children and stuff. I got really offended because that could have been one of my cousins or any other Aboriginal person's cousin. I'm also not trying to go just the Aboriginal people have it bad. Like, the Chinese people, they get paid like next to nothing to make our wonderful materials out here. Other workers get their money, and it's just when they get their money, it just doesn't work. And other Aboriginal people are not trying to apply for YOSMI for social workers because of how corrupt it was. Even the military had to move out of Chilliwack because of how corrupt it was, and they still don't understand that they're still living like the 1800s. I've asked them to listen to multiple things that I've recorded. They will not listen to any of my recordings. So if they won't listen to my recordings and stuff, and they say that I'm delusional, how can I go prove that I'm not if they're saying it doesn't hold out in family court? I'm not trying to go for court. I'm just trying to help them show that I'm not delusional. And Patricia Colley, Antina Ion, and Jackie Reed, and Penny Dyke, I believe, or maybe Tribe, but I believe it's Penny Dyke, told me that I'm also not allowed to have any Indigenous or Aboriginal workers for myself or my wife. They said there is none in their catchment, and that they refuse to give us another Aboriginal social worker or have a male that is not and have a male that isn't involved so much. I've given another female some chance there. The first female, she seemed like my dad, kind of bipolar, and she was shaking like a jackrabbit, and I thought I was going to get hit by her. And so I asked for them to give me a different one, and this one has been even just as bad. It's not gotten any better. Her name is Patricia Colley, and like I said, and she tried to tell me how good I was doing for multiple lengths of time and how wonderful my wife was doing as parents. And eventually she just came in and with the police officers and took my child. I have not been able to see my daughter in over 4 months now. I would have to say I haven't had any contact back from my lawyer from legal aid. His name's Carl Anderson, and I have not had him call back in over a month and a half that I've been trying to get a hold of him and haven't seen my daughter. And so therefore I haven't gotten to see my daughter. I've been rather upset about that. My wife, fortunately enough, she has been able to see the children. I also would like to say that at this point in time, I'll be making another video, but I hope that is a good explanation for what's going on so far here in Chilliwack. Please like and subscribe, and please watch for more videos.